Hey there, this is LaQuita with QuitaBugHandmades.com. Thank you so much for joining me today for another Stampin' Up! Tutorial. So today I have a beautiful Christmas project to share with you featuring the Retiring Most Wonderful Time product medley. I absolutely love that medley. I made so many wonderful projects with it last year, so I was excited to use it again this year. So let's go ahead and jump right into today's video. So like I said, we are using the Most Wonderful Time product medley, which comes with the stamp set, the coordinating dies, and then you get this lovely gold tinsel ribbon, these star embellishments, a ton of sticker sheets, some card fronts, a bunch of designer paper that is gorgeous. I love the medleys. They are a great value. You get so much, and it's open to your own creativity. You know, you can come up with whatever projects you want. So love this medley. So alrighty. And with the year-end closeout sale, the refill packs of the medley are actually discounted right now. I can't remember the percentage off, but they are discounted for the refill pack. Okay, so let's jump into our stamping for this project. I have actually done some of the stamping in advance, and I'll explain to you why I did that. Really, it was just to save time, but I am going to show you how to do some of the stamping. So I'm going to start with this scrap piece of pear pizzazz cardstock. I've got pear pizzazz ink, and I've got real red ink here, and I'm going to stamp the large tree from that Most Wonderful Time stamp set. I'm going to stamp that here on my pear pizzazz in pear pizzazz ink. There we go. Then I'm going to come in with this tiny little candy cane stamp. It's just got a whole little cluster of candy canes, and I'm going to decorate my tree with all of these little candy canes. I'm going to stamp this image 3 times. You do have to be a little bit careful with this image. I noticed that the ink gets on the candy canes, but also on the flat part of the stamp. And if you press too hard, you'll get these little smudges. So I'm being very gentle with my pressure because I don't want those little smudges. All right, I think that looks pretty good. Now I have got a piece of scrap Whisper White cardstock. I'm going to bring in my piercing mat for this image. And I'm going to stamp the little cluster of presents. There are 3 little presents, but the die actually cuts the presents out individually, which is pretty cool. So I've got Mossy Meadow ink here. I'm going to ink up my little gifts, and you will notice that the gifts, it almost looks like maybe you have not properly inked your stamp or something when you stamp this image, but that's actually how it's supposed to look. It's supposed to have this kind of, I don't know what you call it, distressed look perhaps. So I don't know, maybe you can see that if I bring it in up close. Hopefully that's focused. I cannot tell. My phone is covered in embossing powder, so I can't really see the screen, but hopefully you can see what I'm talking about. But that's how the image is supposed to stamp. Then you have this little bow image that goes right over top, and you can put some fun little bows on top of your presents. I'm going to heat emboss these bows on using my gold embossing powder. So I'm just bringing in some scratch paper. I've got my Versamark ink, which is this nice sticky ink that you use when you are heat embossing. Just helps keep the ink wet for your embossing powder. It's like a little wet sticky ink. I don't know why I can't talk. And I'm just being very careful. Just gonna line that up, press this down, and then your embossing powder will stick right to this. And then you can heat set it. Okay. That looks good. Okay. I love heat embossing. It adds elegance and beauty to any project. Got my Stampin' Up! Heat tool. I'm going to put it on 2 and heat this. If it's going to be too loud for your volume, you might want to turn it down. And so off camera, I went ahead and stamped the presents 2 more times in soft seafoam ink and real red ink. And again, I heat embossed in gold. Just be sure to clean that stamp very well in between stamping 3 times in 3 different colors. And I also heat embossed my sentiment onto a piece of basic black cardstock. So I heat embossed in white. And this piece of basic black, this is cut 1/2 inch by 2 inches. And I'll have all the measurements on today's blog post linked down below. So I'm going to go ahead to my die cutting machine and I'm going to cut out my tree and all of my presents. And we will finish up this card. So I've got my tree all die cut, and then I've got all of my little gifts. So you have enough presents to make 3 different versions of this card after you do your die cutting. I've got my little star cut out of some gold foil, and then I also cut out this piece of Whisper White cardstock using one of the Stitched Shapes Framelits dies. This is the largest of the oval dies. So let's put this card together. Okay, for my card base, I've got Whisper White thick cardstock. This is 8.5 inches by 5.5 inches, and I have scored this card base at 4.25 inches. You guys know how much I love Whisper White thick card bases. Then I have got a layer of real red cardstock. This is cut, ooh, I need to replace my blade. This is cut 4 inches by 5.25 inches. And get my Stampin' seal here. And we'll just add this on to the front center of my card base. Then I've got some of the designer paper that comes in the Medley, and this is cut 3 3/4 inches by 5 inches. Couldn't remember there for a second. And again, like I said earlier, all of the measurements are on today's blog post, linked down below. Alrighty, and then I've got another piece of designer paper from the product Medley, and this is cut 3 inches by 3 3/4. So 3 inches by 3 3/4, and I'm actually going to bring in my paper snips, and what I want to do is I'm just going to create a very shallow banner to this piece. So I'm just snipping up the middle, and then I'm going to come in on each side. I don't want it to be a really deep banner, just very shallow. And I'm just going to snip off those little ends to make a little banner, a banner bottom. Let me just match this up a little better. All right, so that is ready to go, and I'll get some more adhesive here on this, and I'm actually going to line this piece up in the center all the way up to the fold of the card, and then I'll lay it down. There we go. Then I've got the lovely gold tinsel that comes in the Medley, and I'm just going to cut a length of this to lay behind my oval. And I just want it to kind of curl up on the ends and hang over this oval just a little bit. So I think this looks good. So I'm just going to bring in some dimensionals and stick this tinsel down. There we go. And we'll just pop this. Gosh, I've got all these little bits of scrappy things all over my desk. I'm just gonna pop this, in the center over this bannered piece, right about there. That should be good. I grab my tree, add this on with just a little bit of adhesive, and have it be flat. So right about yeah, right about there looks good. And then for my presents, I want this little tall mossy meadow present. Then I want the tall real red, and then I want the middle soft seafoam gift. And then I'll set these aside, save those. So got adhesive on the back of both of these, so I will pop this real red one. I'm not going to press it down yet, just in case I need to move it. Let's see. I guess I'll do like that for now. Then I'm going to take the mossy meadow present, and I'm actually going to cut it in half, because I'm going to make it a little bit taller than it already is. So to do that, I'm going to take my sentiment, add plenty of adhesive to the back, and let me see where I'm going to want this to go. I'm going to want this to go right about here. So I'm actually going to tuck my present in the glue. Where's the bottom? Just line it up in the glue that you've got on the back of this sentiment, and you leave a little gap, and so then it looks like the present is taller than it really is. Just make sure you line the top and the bottom up. All right, so I think I've got that where I want it, so I'm gonna go ahead and press that down. I'll go ahead and press these presents down, and then you've just got these little curly bits that just kind of hang over the edge a little bit. And lastly, take a glue dot, add my star onto the tree. All right, there you have it. There is our finished card. Really, really pretty card. I love it. So I hope that you have enjoyed this tutorial. I did go ahead and also stamp my little tree onto my envelope in Mossy Meadow. So, okay, I hope that you have enjoyed today's tutorial. Again, you can find all of the measurements and a full supply list over on today's blog post, linked down below in the video description. And I do have clickable links to all of the products that I used today down in the video description as well. So again, thank you so much for joining me today, and I will be back again very soon with another tutorial. Bye now.